I'm here with Bob Sack, one of our executive vice presidents on campus. Bob, thanks for joining me today.
Absolutely. Delighted to be with you, Aaron, on a gorgeous Friday morning.
It is gorgeous. We can't see that, but if we turn the computer on, we can definitely see that out the windows. But why don't you go over what is your official title here? I just said executive vice president, but that means a lot. There's a lot of things that go underneath that umbrella. And then how long you've been here, and just kind of give what you do on a daily basis.
My title is actually Vice President for University Advancement. That is a title that encompasses really 5 different areas on campus. I have responsibility for advancement, which is of course, the name of the title. That's all about fundraising. So we look to generate dollars and funding for a variety of different buckets of resources. Most notably, those would be scholarships. A tremendous amount of money is raised for scholarships at all 3 divisions, traditional undergrad, PGS, and GRTS. We look to raise money, of course, for capital campaigns, such as a science building or a chapel and a nursing building. So those are just a couple of pockets, but there's really more than that. We also are involved in estate planning. And that means, of course, that when somebody passes away, they may choose to bequest some dollars to Cornerstone. That's a very blessed experience when that happens. So we work hard at that. We also work on what's called the Annual Student Scholarship Fund, which is a means to really support all the students and various experiences on campus. So advancement covers a variety of different aspects, all under that term advancement, which indeed means to advance the resources and the cause of the university. So that's one part. Second part is marketing and communications. That, of course, deals with all of the advertising that's done out in the community, as well as all of the brochures and printed pieces that are published to promote different aspects of the university. The key to that, of course, Aaron, is that you want to have that all consistent. You want to have that all under the umbrella of a brand. So we're, in a sense, the guardian and the promoters of the brand as well through marketing and communications. Also under that marketing and communications umbrella is that of the website. So the website is centrally located here in our office. We work with so many people around campus to produce the 1,376-page website, but that's a vital part of marketing communications as well. So that's the second area. Along with advancement, there's marketing. Third area that I have involvement with as well is alumni relations. That's very close to advancement as well, because obviously you're working with alums on fundraising, but it really goes deeper than that. We want to have alums engaged in different aspects of Cornerstone, perhaps recruiting new students, perhaps helping alums find job opportunities, having alums be part of our classroom experience. Alumni relations is more about just raising money. It's also about just the relationship and the engagement with alums. Fourth area that have involvement in is that of undergrad admissions. Work very closely with Lisa Link and Dave Emerson on that. They do a phenomenal job. And together we combine the marketing and admissions effort for TUG to recruit a new class each and every fall. And then the last and the fifth area is special events and hospitality. Val Probst leads that department for us. And that is an area that not only works with events that we host on campus, but also works to, in a normal setting, have outside organizations and groups come into Cornerstone and use our facilities. So those are 5 different areas. It's really valuable and valuable to have those areas integrated. There's a lot of things we do that mesh some of those 5 areas together. So I think that's how my role was really created 4 to 5 years ago, when Dr. Stoll said we'd like to have this umbrella that you have, allow these different areas to be integrated to a greater degree. So that's my role. I've been at Cornerstone 11 years this month, came in a role that was very focused on marketing and communications back in 2009, and then right around 2015 or so expanded it to what it is now. So it's been a great run, and just really enjoying and blessed very much, as so many people are, by the mission that is at hand here at Cornerstone and the people I get to work with on a daily basis.
Yeah. So that's all you do? You don't do anything more than that? I mean, that's 24 hours in a day, Bob. Six days a week, maybe 7 sometimes. That's all you do? Oh, I think we should put on a little bit more.
I try to allocate at least 20 minutes a week arguing about Big Ten sports with you.
Oh, we'll definitely get to that. We'll get to that today. But no, I appreciate all you do. You have been a great liaison for us in athletics in different ways, like alumni and fundraising, things like that. Obviously, the undergrad admissions, we've got about 35 to 40% of our students from undergrad are student athletes. And so a big part about that has been the involvement with you guys. Let's go to a little bit before you got to Cornerstone. You've got an interesting background in professional sports and now in the college realm. How do those two things tie together? And maybe go a little bit about what you did before Cornerstone.
My career started several decades ago already. I can't believe that, but came out of the University of Michigan. And
we'll just turn it off now. We'll just get away now, and we don't want to have any Michigan, anything else going on. Okay, we'll keep going.
Yeah, I couldn't go more than 5 minutes without that mention. Michigan Business School, later obtained my MBA from Western Michigan, so I've got a little bit of Mac in me as well. But I came out of Michigan and really was fortunate early on to launch a career in the business side of sports. Like you, Aaron, just grew up loving sports, playing it, coaching it, certainly later on parenting it. A variety of different connections to sports, and wanted to realize a dream to have a business career in sports. So that got me launched back in the 80s in the world of professional hockey, minor league hockey on the east side of the state, and then professional golf on the east side of the state. Remember the old Buick Open that was held over in the Detroit Flint area? Eventually moved to Grand Rapids in 1987 and spent 8 years directing what was then known as the Senior PGA Tour event here in town, now called the Champions Tour. That is a golf circuit for players who are over 50 years old, professional players. We hosted a fundraising tournament here in Grand Rapids where there was actually an executive director of that event in a full-time role, and that was fortunate to be me. So I was involved in that tournament from 87 to 95. And then in 1995, met the DeVos family and the Van Andel family, and had just a wonderful opportunity to really be the first employee hired of the then Grand Rapids, then West Michigan Hockey, soon to be the Grand Rapids Griffins at that point. The ensuing 12 years with the Griffins were filled with not only a great amount of enjoyment through the hockey team, but a variety of other sports ventures that the DeVos family had engaged in as well. So my career really had a very strong slant toward professional sports. Right around 2009, or rather 2006, I decided to leave that. A lot of nights and weekends. I saw, Aaron, 462 hockey games in a span of 10 to 11 years downtown. So I was a little bit, I don't want to say burned out, but ready for a new life, particularly with my kids getting to be an age where nights and weekends needed to be spent more with their activities than at Van Andel Arena. So did move on in 2006. I took a position for 3 years, a very different twist and very different change, as the chief operating officer with a commercial real estate law firm in town. And did that for 3 years, enjoyed that, learned a lot through that. But when Joe Stoll called in the summer of 2009, the mission of Cornerstone was just extremely intriguing and enticing and very compelling to me. And I think back to your original question, what's the link between my career, the first really 20 years of my career heavily into pro sports, and that of higher education? I think it really was a community connection. The ability to have couple decades here in Grand Rapids and understanding our West Michigan marketplace, knowing people in the marketplace, understanding the ethos of Grand Rapids and West Michigan. I think that was a key thing that Dr. Stoll desired to have in this position when I came over to Cornerstone back in 2009. So that was the big link. And I think beyond that too, in the world of professional sports, I did learn a lot about the aspect of marketing and the aspect of communication, and certainly the aspect of sales and relationships with the stakeholders. And those are all things that in their own unique way can be transferred to not only the marketing activity we do here at Cornerstone, but also the sales activity, whether it be sales of admissions, the admissions work, or the relationships that are built with donors on the fundraising side. There's a lot of principles that you do take from that sort of business over to that here of higher education.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you've done a great job with the team that you've developed over there. It's right across the pond. I think I can actually see you in your office there, right across the pond. But you've got some of my favorite people on campus that are working in that department, the Lane Fullers and Dennis Grahams and Mark Tremaines and Jory, and just some really incredible people that are under your umbrella there. Maybe comment about them and that team that does some great work for our university.
Yeah, I tell you, I've shared this with my wife several times, and we talk about, what's life like here at Cornerstone, and certainly the big picture of the 300 or so people that work here are very imbuing to me, because their mission is uniform and their commitment is just so genuine and authentic. So I'm grateful to be on the campus as a whole and the environment that we all work in. I will tell you this, the people that I work with here, back to my comment about my wife, I've told her, I said, in all my years, my 3 decades of my career, I've never had a better crew to work with right now. It's just it is a group of people that really provide 2 things that are so critical, and that is competence. They're very good at what they do, and their chemistry is outstanding as well. They just work together so well as a team, and I'm grateful for that. Beyond that, and really maybe more important than the chemistry and the competence, Aaron, and you know this because we sense this all over campus, is the commitment to Christ. There is a 11-year history now that I have here at Cornerstone, and I am so grateful and so inspired by, again, not only the chemistry and the competence, but just the character of the people that I get to work with very closely in my department, and their commitment to Jesus Christ. It makes this place really, really enjoyable to come to work each day. That's not to say we're all perfect, right? We all have our challenges now and then. There's obstacles, there's issues we have to work through. But by and large, being somebody that's worked out in the public sector, worked in the corporate world, I can tell you that Cornerstone University is just a wonderful place to work each day. And certainly in my department, as this department over here across the pond, as well as the undergrad admissions, is just terrific.
Yeah. Well, and 2 people I didn't mention, and you mentioned the website, brand new website for cornerstone.edu. Christina Garvelink and Caroline Cahoon, 2 of the creative people on our campus. Major shout out to them, that they've done a great job with getting that website up and running. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with that moving forward.
Hey, the website went on a diet, actually. I mentioned 1,376 pages. It was actually over 2,000 in the old one. So this website, which is the 4th one that we've had in the time I've been here, is so vital because it takes you to another level from a technology standpoint and a back room operations standpoint per se. But clearly the detail that is in those 1,376 pages is designed to be the front door or the window to the university. It's so crucial as people come to that site that they're impressed by what they see at that first glance. Christina Garvelink has tediously and relentlessly worked over the last 10 months to provide us with, I think, a site that we're all excited about and very proud of here as we embark on this 2021 year.
Yeah. And as we flip gears from there, usually as I go into these conversations with different faculty and staff across campus, um, I kind of know where I'm going to go with the other part of the conversation, like what do you do outside of Cornerstone and what are your interests? I would have thought by now, almost 10 minutes in ish, a little bit more than 10 minutes in, we haven't said a word about Big Ten football. You did mention Michigan because you graduated from there. But we don't know when this is going to air, so we can't talk about what the current state of Big Ten sports is, because this might be a month when this thing actually goes live on the website. But you being a diehard Michigan fan, love the Wolverines, love the wing helmet. What drives that passion to have that? I mean, there's not many people in this country, in this world, that I know that are as passionate about that school and that sport as you, Bob.
I think it's, first of all, it's more than just football. Let's remember basketball and the dominance that we've essentially had over the team down south with regard to basketball. So it's more than football. But beyond that, now I as a young guy, young kid, when I was probably 7, 8 years old, I went to my first game in Ann Arbor and just really loved it. And probably when I got to be about 14 or 15 years old, I realized that there's actually a academic institution there. It's more than a football team and a basketball team and a baseball team. I even went to baseball games. So you learn that the Michigan tradition is about the academics as well as the athletics. And the whole package became very enticing to me. I will tell you, though, you probably don't believe this, but I will tell you that I have matured a lot, and I've become much more balanced in life, and I've become much more amenable to my wife after those games that we do lose. So the last Saturday in November, which quite frankly has not gone too well the last decade or so, 2 decades.
I would say
I probably would have been a less than stellar husband for the first, I don't know, maybe 72, 96 hours after those types of losses. I can usually get over it now in about 24 hours. So I want you to know that there is a maturation process that has occurred over these last few years.
Well, I think the losing really helps you build that up. And I'm not saying that as a supporter of Ohio State. That's they've won 18 of the last 20, and so that gives you a lot of time to build that up, Bob. So the 90s, that was the opposite for me, right? I living in Michigan, and since 1988, when they hired a gentleman. They don't really refer to him by name down in Ohio. They refer to him by the 2-11 or 2-10-1 guy. He didn't have a whole lot of success against the state up north. And I think I, as a kid growing up, I'm much younger than you, Bob. That's by a couple years. I don't have when you said you moved to Michigan in '85, I was only 3 at that time. And so I've got some history that I don't fully understand in the rivalry of Ohio State and Michigan. But being a history buff that I am, I love the history of the game. The 90s were a rough time for me, just like the 2000s have been a rough time for a Michigan fan.
Yeah, you and I have known each other now for about 10 years, and you've been telling me that line about the 90s for a while. The problem is we're now into decade number 2. So don't give me this story about how you can totally understand it, because with regard to football, we're now in decade number 2.
They still, I can't understand that. No, 2-10-1, but Michigan winning against Ohio State a couple of times in the 90s flat out cost them national championships. I can't say so many times that when Ohio State beat Michigan in the 2000s, they've maybe 1 or 2 opportunities to win a championship, but Ohio State in the 90s, they were the number 1 team 3 times and got knocked off all 3 times by a mediocre Michigan team. So that was tough.
I'll be real candid here, because hey, we're bearing all. I will tell you that as much as that all that hurts that you've rehashed over these last few minutes, I can tell you though that those Jolly Green Giants down the road, down I-96, frankly create more vitriol in me at times than the team down south.
It is interesting to have that perspective. Like Michigan fans, they have two rivals, but if they want that one true rival, I would argue that most people would say Ohio State's still that true rival of theirs. So maybe not.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for joining me. It's been fun. Well, we can keep talking. We can talk Big Ten football, Michigan, Ohio State. That's what I love about you, Bob. We could go back and talk about the 40s and the 50s and 60s because we both understand it. We both understand where both programs have been over the last 100 years. So it's been fun.
Yeah, good. Great to be with you, Aaron, and thanks for all you do. A pleasure to work with the athletic department. There's a number of areas on campus that are special to me, and certainly athletics is one of them because of my background, and just appreciate all the work you guys are doing over there, and keep it going.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining me.
All right.